The market is turning around, and everyone is waiting for the altcoin season to start after this signal. The global narrative has changed dramatically since the Fed meeting on May 1st, and we've already gotten the very first positive statistics on ETF. So what's going on? Are we going to go up, or is this another manipulator's game? Subscribe to the channel, and let's get to the bottom of this. Bitcoin recovered by 11% and is now near the key resistance level. The growth started after the Fed meeting, where we received a very important signal. As expected, the regulator kept the rate at 5.5%. Jerome Powell also scared everyone well by talking about strong inflation, and now the expectations for a rate cut have been shifted from September to November, and by the end of the year at best, there will be only 2 instead of 3. But there was an important point in the Fed's decision that investors paid attention to and realized that now the S&P 500 and Bitcoin have a great chance to recover. We're talking about reducing the pace of asset sales from the regulator's balance sheet from $60 billion to $25 billion a month. If you look at this chart, more than $1 trillion has been written off the Fed's balance sheets over the past 12 months. That means that's exactly the amount of liquidity they've pulled out of the markets, and now the pace of selling will be more than halved. And I'll remind you that back on April 29th, the U.S. Treasury Department gave Treasury bill data, and from them we learned that another $180 billion more in liquidity will be released before the end. Together, this is money that can be spent by market participants to buy the S&P 500 and Bitcoin, and altcoins will follow. The money supply indicator M2 also shows that the situation for risky assets has significantly improved. It became positive for the first time since the end of 2022. This means that there will be even more money, and it will have to be spent on buying assets. It's not a printing press yet, but if Bitcoin was able to reach a price of $73,000 in the face of a lack of liquidity, what can it do now that the Fed and the Treasury have decided to bring liquidity back to the markets? It's certainly not being done for the crypto market. The U.S. authorities are uneasy about the $1 trillion they spend on servicing the national debt, and that's why the Treasury Department decided to conduct the first Treasury buyback program since 2002. But who remembers the story of the coronavirus, when the U.S. authorities began to distribute $1,200 to each American as help during the crisis? Exactly the same amounts began to flow to the crypto exchange Coinbase. People chose the crypto market, and the repetition of this situation awaits the former head of BitMEX, Arthur Hayes. He said that the Bitcoin correction is over, and that the bull market is returning on liquidity inflows from the Fed. And some very interesting news came from the cryptocurrency ETF market. The first thing to look at is the Bloomberg analyst flip-flop on the result of the Hong Kong ETF trading launch. On April 30th, after the markets closed, trading volume of just $12 million was reported. This was the decisive reason for Bitcoin to fall below $60,000. And on May 2nd, Eric from Bloomberg published a statistic that the real inflow on the first day was $292 million. And this is more than it was at the start of trading with the U.S. Bitcoin ETF sweatshops. He attributed such a huge difference in the data to the fact that the data from China comes with a big delay. Also, it's important to note that this money was invested in the Hong Kong ETF before trading even started. That's why we didn't see them on April 30th. As for U.S. ETFs, we had 2 major events in the last few days. The first one is the first sale from the BlackRock fund, recorded on May 1st. After that, they wrote off 638 Bitcoins from their balance sheet, but that doesn't mean that the coins were sold. And on May 3rd, perhaps an even more significant event took place. The total inflow to the ETF became positive again and amounted to $378 million. Most importantly, it was the first day that Grayscale bought $63 million worth of Bitcoins at once. As you can see from this chart, they were the ones who were the biggest seller since trading began in January. Things are now looking like the crypto market is about to make a steep turnaround, with altcoin season ahead. April 30th, we talked about how the markets have this saying, sell in May. Let's discuss how much has changed since the Fed's decision and the release of new ETF data. I'll start with another prediction. Trader Peter Brandt believes that if Bitcoin successfully reverses from current values, it'll be a normal continuation of the bull market, and next, the price will head to $75,000 or even higher. If we open the Bitcoin chart, and remember that the moving average has always been a bull market indicator. Right now, it looks like one of the corrections after which we can continue to grow. You can see that there have already been several such situations in this cycle, and why shouldn't it happen again? I'm not giving financial advice, but I will be looking at this local downtrend on the daily chart. It also needs to be broken to get another confirmation that the correction is over. When I made the video, Bitcoin was just trading near this trend line. It's in a resistance range around 63,000. Perhaps when you watch this video, the situation has already been resolved, and if the trend is broken, Bitcoin should move to 65,000. Conversely, a failed assault would again make us think about a new drop below 60,000. We've already talked about the reasons for the rise at the beginning of the video. What would cause prices to go down again? I'll primarily be watching the results of ETF trading. There's already been one sale from the BlackRock fund, and who knows if they'll want to do it again. Although right now, the top 1 investment company in the world is actively promoting Bitcoin. They even shared plans to attract U.S. pension funds into their ETF, which has a lot of money. And also, after the May holidays, ETF trading in Hong Kong will resume, and their dynamics can also affect the mood of crypto investors. As for the altcoin season, which many people are talking about now, looking at Bitcoin's market share, I don't agree with the thesis that liquidity has started to flow into altcoins. Rather, they just held up better than Bitcoin during this correction due to the fact that nobody believed in the early end of the bull market and tried to buy more altcoins in their portfolio at discounts. That is, it was a localized phenomenon, not a classic altcoin season, when Bitcoin is already expensive to buy and investors start investing in other cryptocurrencies. This is indirectly confirmed by the Altseason index with its score of 41 points. Who does not know this indicator? I'll tell you that the official altcoin season occurs above 75 points. This does not mean that altcoins will not grow, but Bitcoin maximalist Michael Saylor is already actively burying them. He has stated that only Bitcoin will be accepted by Wall Street, and coins like Ethereum, BNB, Solana, XRP, Cardano, and the rest of the coins are securities. But for myself, I highlighted 2 points. First, that right now, the growth of altcoins is not yet possible without the continuation of the Bitcoin bull market. And secondly, that the real altcoin season will happen only after newer people enter the market. And judging by the current situation, we'll see it only after 80,000 per Bitcoin. Your subscription and likes are the best support for my channel. Thanks for watching.